All right, welcome to this week's edition of the Entrepreneur Insider Secrets podcast. Excited to be with you again this week. Today, we're going to be talking about using analytics to drive business decisions. Now, there's a reason this is important, and that is being an entrepreneur is a lot like riding a roller coaster. Let's just be honest. It's an emotion ride. It's a very, very emotional ride because one day you're doing something and it worked really well and you had a lot of success and things are going in your favor and you're super excited and you're like, great, this is amazing. And then the next day you're like, oh my gosh, it was a failure and this is awful. And I will tell you from many rounds of experience that I have gone up and down on this roller coaster. We would run a marketing campaign or we would do this initiative and it was incredibly successful. And I would be like, I'm the best marketer in the world. I'm the best business owner in the world. Look at how great I'm doing. Look, this is amazing. We're killing it. And then the next time we would try and do something and it would be a total mess and it wouldn't work. And we couldn't, we're sitting there going, what in the world happened? And you're like, man, I guess I'm the worst marketer in the world. And so you started to realize after a while that this is crazy. Like, this is like, boom, 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 up, down, up, down. Like, this is not healthy. This is not sustainable. And you realize that if I'm going to be riding this roller coaster, I'm going to give myself whiplash because this is intense, the ups and the downs. And everyone who's an entrepreneur experiences that to a degree. You have your good days where you're like, this is great. This is amazing. I just signed 3 new clients. I've got this amazing program going. People are interested. This is going well. And you're super amped and you're super excited. And then on the other side, you're like, on days where you're like questioning, why am I even trying? Why am I kidding myself? Why do I even think I could do this? And so this is why we need to be able to learn how to use analytics, because there's something that I was told a long, long time ago, and that was the key to disappointment in life, the key to managing that. Disappointment occurs when your blueprint or your expectations for what you think should happen and the reality are not in alignment. Okay. So maybe you were running this marketing campaign and you were thinking, I want to get 10 new clients and that's what I want. And maybe the marketing campaign goes and you got 8. You get 8 new clients instead of 10. It was still incredibly successful. It still worked really, really well. It's still very profitable and things are going really well. But in your head, you had, I needed 10 for this to work. Okay. I get it. I understand it. You need 10 clients to feel good, but because your expectations were set up here and reality was slightly below, you think you failed and you didn't. The only reason you think you failed is because you had unrealistic expectations at the beginning. So here's something that I'm going to try and help you with today is we're going to talk through this a little bit. And I also heard someone else tell me a long time ago is you need to focus on the data and not the drama. And because this is a very natural, common thing in business, because, it's not just that you're trying to do something. When you work for somebody else, if something fails, you're like, well, it's because my boss is stupid. My boss screwed it up or that person over there messed up. But when you're an entrepreneur and you're doing this on your own, it's all you. And you have no one else to blame. You have no one to point the finger at. It's you. You're the one. And so there's this whole level of like, wait a minute, you're like, what am I doing? You're like, it's me. I'm the problem. I can't do it. Well, we're going to try and give you tools today to get off of that emotional roller coaster so that you can learn how to manage the ups and the downs, because you can't get rid of the ups and the downs. They're a part of the journey. This is part of what we as business owners signed up for. Unfortunately, we would all love to believe that our business is going to grow in a straight line and everything's going to go nice and smooth, but yeah, that never happens. It's up and down, up and down, up and down, peaks and valleys. And the peaks are amazing. And we think, like I said, we think we're the greatest in the world when the peaks hit, and we go down in the dumps when the valleys hit. So we have to learn how to manage through all of those. Now, this is why your analytics are so crucial for your online business. This is why you need to be able to use these to move through those emotions, to be able to go through these peaks and valleys, these ups and downs, without just destroying yourself emotionally, without just beating yourself into the ground. You need to be able to use these analytics, use these decision points, this data, to help you make decisions so that you can identify where things are going well and where things are going wrong, and you can make those decisions, and you can target the areas and the places that need improvement. And you can say, well, that actually went well, but that didn't. Okay, so rather than just say, oh, I'm terrible, I'm awful, no one wants what I offer, this is a disaster, just say, I need to get better at that. That piece over there needs to improve. And when I do that, when I get better at that, I'll probably be successful. And you realize, and suddenly it's not so personal. And suddenly it's not so like, oh my goodness, this is bad. The whole thing needs to be thrown away. So let me give you an example of what I see all the time. And this maybe will bring it home and make it a little bit more real for you. As I see this all the time, like somebody decides, I'm going to start my business, and so I'm going to hold a little free workshop. I'm going to go out and I'm going to put this out into the world, and I'm going to offer a little free workshop, and I promote it online. Maybe you go out and promote it on social media. Maybe you go and send out an email to get people to sign up for your free workshop. Maybe you run a small ad. But you do these things, and you do that to get a bunch of people to register for your free event. And then you create a marketing presentation for people to listen to, and you teach them things during the presentation, but you're also doing a marketing presentation that's promoting your services at the end. And it's based on a topic that interests your audience. Obviously it's something that they signed up for because they were interested in learning more about it. So they sign up for it, and they, go, and they are, deciding that they want to, listen and learn more about this. So you're promoting it, you're getting people to sign up. You develop this presentation and you present it to the audience so when they show up live, and you develop an offer that, at the end promotes your services, your products, the things that you're selling. And then, you offer them the opportunity to either get on a call with you, or you offer the opportunity to go and make a purchase and to get started doing that. And you create a little order form for them to purchase, or you create an application for them to complete. And you develop an email sequence for them to follow up for anyone who, attended, but maybe wasn't on live. And you go through it, you do all this work, and we all know that there's a good amount of work to get all that done. There's a good amount of work to set all this up. Anybody that's run a marketing campaign knows that there's several pieces to this sucker, and you don't just walk out of bed one morning and go, here we go, boom, done. I'm just going to throw this together and go. No, it takes work. There's a lot of pieces and a lot of steps that have to be put in place. And let's say, like a lot of people, you do this marketing campaign and it didn't generate the results that you wanted. You did not get the sales that you're hoping for. You did not get the income that you wanted. And so what I typically see from people, what I typically have experiences with people on is I get the well, it didn't work. I didn't make money, or I didn't get enough, or I didn't get any clients from that presentation. And so as a result, it did not work. It didn't generate the results that I wanted. So here I am thinking, well, apparently people just don't want what I'm offering. So I guess it's no good. I guess I was wrong. I guess my whole thing is bad. And I'm just going to throw the whole thing away. And I'm going to walk away and I'm going to quit. Well, that is a very normal response. I see that all the time. I felt that myself all the time. But I watch this again and again and again in people. They go out, they put together a presentation, they do all the work, they put it out there, and then they don't get the results that they were hoping for, which again is a normal part of the entrepreneur journey. This is not unique. This is not special. This is not just to you. People think well, I guess I'm not good at this, or I guess I can't do it. Well, no, you're just on the entrepreneur roller coaster. It's all it is everybody goes through this. Everybody has these struggles. Everyone has these difficulties. It's not unique. It's not unusual. It's not something that is unique to you. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is, instead of just saying, well, clearly nobody wants it. I quit. I'm going to go do something else. Instead of doing that, I'd like you to ask the question, why? Why didn't it work? Why did I not get the results? And because the reality is that a good part of your marketing campaign probably did work. It probably did work pretty well, but the other parts of it did not. And it did not generate the results that you wanted. So if you look at it and you ask, instead of just saying, well, clearly I suck, my offer sucks, people suck, anything that you want to go down and do, because nobody understands what, how great of a thing I've created, whatever. I've heard them all. I've heard all the stories. I've heard all the statements. But if instead you just go, well, what specifically didn't work? Why specifically did I not get the results? And if you suddenly look at it and go, well, I just didn't get this. This one thing did not work as well as I wanted. Okay, what if you then stopped and focused on getting better at that one thing? What if you stopped and focused on getting a better, making that one piece better and improving that one area of what your marketing campaign is doing? So let me give you some key analytics. Let me give you some key analytics for you to consider, for you to go through and to ponder when you're putting together your own type of marketing campaign. So before you start, you need to know these things. You need to know what is a win. Because again, as I said earlier, so many times we go into a situation and we have these, well, my results should be up here. And that expectation at the beginning may be unreasonable. You may be shooting for the moon on that, and it may not be a real number. It may not be a realistic number to expect from people. So as a result, you may not have a very good chance of getting it no matter how well you do. So you need to make sure that you have realistic expectations so that when you get there, you're like, okay, based on a realistic expectation, I actually did okay. I did all right. So let's start at the beginning. The first step in any marketing campaign is getting people to opt into the marketing campaign. So again, in our example, let's say you're doing a live presentation. You're going to do a live training on Thursday of this next week, and you're going to promote people. Please sign up to watch my live training. So you're getting their names and email addresses. You're getting them to sign up. You're getting them to go through all these things. And so you're going to be sending people to this registration page, right? You're going to be sending them to a page to have them sign up. Now, the reality is a lot of people are going to go to that page, and a percentage of them are going to actually register. Some of them will go to the page and go, nah, this isn't for me, and they won't sign up. So we have to learn and understand that these things are called a marketing funnel for a reason. Is like you start off very wide and you're promoting your message to a wide audience, and then the marketing funnel gets narrower and narrower and narrower, and it's until you get all the way to the bottom where you get a few clients. So you may start off with 1 million people, and by the time you're done, you end up with 20 people that became your clients. So it really does filter them down. So the first step when you're doing is you're sending all these people to this marketing page. You're sending them all to this landing page, and you're telling them it has an event description. It talks about what we're going to teach on this training, what we're going to present to you, how we're going to put all this together. And it's really laying it out for you and showing the benefits of why you should want to attend this training. Now, a reasonably good expectation is 20 to 25%. If your registration page is doing well, you want 20, 25% of the people who go to that page to actually put in their name and email. So I want you to think about that. On a successful level, that means 75 to 80% of the people who go to that page don't register. That is normal. Very, very normal. It's like people that walk into a retail store, they walk around, they look at stuff and go, no, it's not for me. And they don't buy anything. It's the same thing. People are walking around and looking at your free training, your opportunity to get something of value just by putting their name and email in. And they're saying, no, I was interested, but it's not really for me. If you get 20 to 25%, you're doing well. You're doing a good job. That means that the registration page that you created was compelling and well done. Okay, so that's your first hurdle. Am I getting people to register? Are they signing up for my free training? Because if we know that you're sending a lot of people and only 10% of them are registering, we know where the first problem is, because all of these things filter down. The more people the better job you do on the registration page, the higher percentage of people that you get to sign up means the more people that will now see the second layer of your marketing funnel. Okay. So here's the thing is that if you don't do a good job of doing that, then the numbers keep getting smaller all the way down, and you have to work even harder to get people to the lower parts of the funnel because they're not signing up at the top end. So this is a really big one. We want to make sure that we get at least 20 to 25% of people who go to your registration page, see it, and decide, yes, that's for me. Now, a lot of this as well is, how is your marketing doing? If your marketing, and sorry, I need a little drink there. If your marketing is promising one thing and they go to the registration page and the marketing is not in sync, and it's like, no, this isn't really what I wanted. It sounded better in the ad that I saw or the little video that I watched, and this is not really, no, this really isn't for me. So you have to make sure that the messaging is consistent, and that the reason people are clicking on your ad or your video or whatever and going to the registration page to consider signing up is because your original marketing piece that you put out into the world was attractive enough for them to say, yeah, I think that sounds interesting to me. I want to learn more about that. And then when they go to your registration page and they read more about it, they go, oh yeah, that was pretty good. That is of interest to me. That definitely confirms what I saw in the marketing. I want to see this. I want to be a part of this. And so they sign up. So you want to have, again, 20 to 25% of the sheer volume of people who look at your registration page put their name and email in to register and to attend. Now, you want the next step of the stage is, okay, we got them registered. Now, we all know that we've all signed up for trainings. We've all signed up for a free training or webinar or whatever. And it was like, the live training is going to be done Thursday afternoon. And you go, well, I'm busy Thursday afternoon, but I'm going to sign up anyway. They'll probably have a replay. So that is definitely a part of this. So we always have a good percentage of people that, for whatever reason, will not even sign up or will not show up live. So here's the next problem is that that the next problem is, okay, I got them to register. That's great. But now I actually need to get them to show up. Now I need them to I need them to attend the presentation. I need them to hear the message. Otherwise, I'm still not going to be successful. So the thing that I would urge you to shoot for is, let's say you do this and you get 100 people to register. You sent, let's say, you got 20% of the people that went to your page. You ended up with 100 registrants. Your goal out of that, I would say, should be around 20 or so people to attend live. You would like to see about 20%. As you can see, this funnel keeps getting smaller, doesn't it? We've gone from large numbers of people that we promoted it to 20% that actually register. And now out of that number, 20% will show up live. So this is why marketing is expensive. This is why it costs money. This is why it adds to the price of all of our products and services, because we have to spend a lot of money to get a customer. We have to do a lot of expenses and work to get that customer located, to get their attention, to get them interested, to get to them to the point where they will say yes. So we want to get about 20%. If you're not getting 20% people to show up live, you probably didn't provide a strong enough reason for them to show up live. Now, in your marketing, did you say, hey, show up live on the training and you will receive the following bonus for showing up live? See, all of a sudden, there's a little more incentive, right? There's a little bit more reason for them to want to be there. You're giving them a reason to show up. If you're putting something out there, you're going to give a free bonus to everyone who attends my training live. Suddenly, well, I want that free bonus. That sounds interesting, and I'll make a point of being on live. Did you send out good emails before the training to remind people? Because here's the thing, maybe they signed up for your free training on Friday and your training was actually going live next week, Thursday. By the time they got to Thursday, they forgot. And it wasn't that they weren't interested, or wasn't that they didn't like the idea of being on your training. They just plumb forgot. They got busy. Life happened. Things were going on. And they, all of a sudden forgot that this was on there. They didn't put it on their calendar. Did you send out good reminder emails to get them to remind them, like, hey, by the way, Thursday afternoon, we're going to be live. Can't wait to see you. And just friendly little reminders to encourage them. So you want to make sure you incentivize them to show up live, and you want to make sure that you remind them to show up live. So we want to get, again, about 20 to 25% of the people on the registration page to register. And out of those who register, we want to get around 20% or so to show up live. That if you do that, I get a lot of people that say, well, I'm doing terrible. And then I ask their numbers, and they're hitting those numbers. And I'm like, you're not doing terrible. This is just how marketing works. The vast majority of people who register won't show up. That's normal. That is normal marketing world. So when I tell people that, they're going, oh, it is? I go, yes. So I'm actually doing better than I think. Correct. But again, the expectations are so high that no matter how well you do, you're always thinking you're failing. So once you do that, how many people are going to stay to the end of your presentation? So let's say you start off your presentation, and let's say your presentation is 45 minutes, and you give this little presentation, and you're going and you're teaching, and let's say you start off with 20 people. But by the time you get to your offer at the end, by the time you actually get to the point where you're actually offering them the opportunity to buy or offering them the opportunity to apply to work with you, by the time you get there, let's say you're down to 5. Ouch. Okay. So even though they're on live, they didn't even hear your offer. They didn't even hear the opportunity. So now the next objective is, how do we get them to actually stick around long enough to hear the offer, to hear the opportunity that they have to work with you, to become your client? Well, a couple of different things I want you to think about. One is, if you offer a free bonus, don't give away the free bonus until the end of your presentation. Like, I always give away a free ebook, and I, have this ebook that we can use. Here it is. Everyone who attends live will get it. Great, no problem. And I pass it out at the end of the presentation. And that's kind of, and I don't feel bad about doing that. I'm like, that's your reward for sticking around. Thank you for being on. I appreciate you. Here you go. Download it. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's very helpful to you. And so these are the things that, you do, but also you need to know, was your presentation hitting the mark? Was your presentation helping people and adding value? Was it interesting and entertaining? Was it something that they enjoyed? Was it something they were getting value out of? Because, I've been on presentations before where I can tell these guys are joking around, they're messing around, and they spend the first 10 minutes screwing around. Oh, I would get so frustrated. The presentation wouldn't even start till at least 10 plus minutes past the time that it started. I've been sitting there for 10 to 15 minutes waiting for these jokers to get going. And they're just screwing around, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm out of here. So start your presentation on time. Start it, like if you're starting at 1:00, start there or right immediately thereafter. Do not mess around. If you want to have a few minutes ahead of time to talk, if you want to have a few minutes ahead of time to, engage with people, check in with people, great, no problem. But do it beforehand. Don't waste people's time. And if your presentation immediately becomes clear, I'm not going to learn anything on this presentation. It's just going to be a sales pitch. They're not teaching me anything new. They're not teaching me anything valuable. This is a waste of my time. Boom, I'm out of here. So you need to know, you want at least 75% of the audience to stick around to your offer. Okay. Now, once you make the offer, you're going to lose some. That's just natural and normal. But you are trying to get out of those, let's say, 20 people who showed up live. You want at least 75% of those, or 15, to stick around to the point where you're actually making the offer. And again, we got to think about this. Out of 100 people, only 15 of them are hearing the offer. So this is why, again, why it's so important that we keep each of these steps going. But if you can do that, if you can keep 75% of them around to the end of your presentation when you're actually offering what it is that you're offering, you're going to be successful, because this is working. You're doing a good job. Your presentation is put together well enough. It's educational enough, it's helpful enough, it's valuable enough, it's entertaining enough that people are sticking around because they're like, I want to hear this. This is useful. This is helpful. I like this. I want what I want to hear more about what you're sharing. And then the last step in all of this is, out of the people that were there, how many sales or applications did you get? And again, I'm not going to give you a number on that one because it's going to depend on how expensive your offer was. Like, obviously, if you're selling a $50 item, you should get a lot more sales than if you're selling a $5,000 item. I don't have a number for you. You just need to know, if I spent $1,000 on marketing of this presentation, I need to get over $1,000 in sales on the other end for this to work. So that number is going to be dependent on your own individual situation. You're going to need to know, like, hey, I'm doing this, and I need to know that I have at least this many applications, because maybe that if I can get 4 applications in, usually I can turn one of them into clients. Okay, so you need to have at least 4 applications filled out. That would be your goal, whatever that may be. You need to make sure that you have those numbers working in your favor. But again, once you know, like, okay, I need 20 to 25% registrations. I need 20% to show up live. I need 75% of them to stick around and make it to the end. And then I need this many to buy, or this many to fill out an application for this to be considered a success. You see how now this turns it away from all the emotional roller coaster, and it turns it into, okay, I have metrics. And then you can go back and say, okay, the campaign didn't work the way I wanted it to. And now you can go back and look at each one of these numbers and determine where the problem is. If no one's registering and you're promoting and you only get like 10% of the people to register, you need to work on making a better registration page. You need to add more curiosity. You need to add more benefits to your registration page so it's more appealing to people to want to register. If they're not showing up live, you got to incentivize them for showing up live. Make sure your communication is strong. Make sure you've provided valid reasons for them to be there. Give them a bonus. Give them, motivate them. Give them a reason to click the button and join and show up live. It's up to you to motivate them. It's up to you to give them the reason to show up. And then how well done is your presentation? If your presentation is done well and you are getting people to stick around and everybody's like going, well, what else this is amazing. This is great. This is so helpful. I love this. Then you're doing a good job. Your presentation is there, but you then need to know, based on your numbers, based on your metrics, where did I succeed? And where do I still need to improve? And it takes the emotion out of it. You're not going, well, my whole thing stinks and I need to quit and I need to just go, sit in the corner and sulk because I'm awful. No, that's not it at all. We just need to learn where we need to improve. And if we know that, and if we ask those right questions and we learn that, then what happens is you can sit there and go, I don't need to throw the whole thing away. I just need to improve this one piece. I need to make this one little bit better. And if I could, because like 3 out of the 4 things went actually really well, I just didn't get sales at the end. Okay. So now we got to work on how your sales process is, how your close is working. Are you closing well? Are you making an offer that people are biting on and engaging with? Because that is going to determine your level of success. That is going to determine your ability to make this work. And so But now I don't need to change the registration page. I don't need to change my presentation. I've got people showing up. I've incentivized them well to show up. I just need to get better at my close. I need to get better at getting them to say yes. And you suddenly have the confidence that I've actually done 75% of this process really well. I just need to tweak the end. All of a sudden, that roller coaster calms down. All of a sudden, the roller coaster is not so violent and so difficult. And if you make a few tweaks, you can turn a losing campaign into a winning one. This is how marketing works. This is how people go from being struggling to succeeding. This is how you turn that corner and get from where you are to where you want to be. But too often people get on that, well, I tried and it failed, so I quit and I give up because clearly I'm not cut out to do this. No, and this is why I also say, far too many times people quit 6 inches from gold. They are 6 inches away from striking gold, but because they didn't understand these steps, because they didn't understand this part of the process, they gave up and they walked away. And the reality is they were 6 inches away from gold. They were so close. They were right there. They were knocking on the door, but because they didn't get it on the first try, they quit and they walked away. And that is a tragedy. That is 100% a tragedy because they had it all sitting right in front of them. It was all waiting for them. The success was within their reach. It was sitting right there. But because they didn't understand their metrics, they didn't understand the blueprint of how to create a campaign to bring people in to be successful, they didn't make it. They gave up too soon and they gave up too early. So this is why we have Design, Launch, Grow. This is why we do what we do to help you figure all these things out. If you'd like help like this, we would love to help you. Just check out designlaunchgrow.com. Otherwise, that's it for this episode. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will talk to you again very soon.